Good day to you, Cheating Secrets podcast fans. Today we've got one story, but it's an investigative one with quite a few updates. So let's see how it goes. Its title, I, 42 male, think my wife, 40 female, might be cheating. I think we might know where this is going, but let's listen to the story. I have recently started to wonder if my wife might be cheating, but I'm not sure what to do from here. I have no smoking gun for evidence, so I don't want to confront her in case nothing is happening or to have her cover things up. It has just been small things and a spidey sense. About 4 months ago, she started working out a lot more and became much more interested in how she looks. She was very attractive but never really wore makeup or did much with her hair. She's also started being protective with her phone, which I know is a bad sign. It's normal for us to go into each other's phones, but now it never leaves her side, and if I ask for it to take a picture or something, she will tell me to use mine. She has also been staying late at work more often and has been taking a few more out-of-town trips for work in the last 4 months. She hasn't initiated any kind of intimacy and only gives me pecking-type kisses. I've tried to initiate with her a handful of times, and she rejected me a few times. And a few times, she let me go through with it but wasn't engaged and just laid there. It made me feel really bad, worse than getting rejected outright. I brought up the lack of intimacy a while back, and she said that she was exhausted all the time from being a mom, working and lifting weights. She said she would try to do a better job and kissed me later that night, but nothing has changed. I have wondered if it might be some kind of midlife crisis thing. There's a guy at her work that I am thinking could be trouble. My wife used to talk about him a lot, but a few months ago she quit mentioning him, although I know they still work closely together. From what I can gather, he is married with kids and told my wife that he is having marital issues. I met him briefly a few times and he basically ignored me. We were around a lot of other people. He isn't nearly as attractive as me and definitely not in great shape like me. Not to brag, but it's true. I'm big and strong and he is kind of average and a little overweight. But he dresses flashy and is outgoing and likes to drink. I don't really like drinking, and my wife has mentioned a few times that she wishes I would go out drinking every now and then. I graduated high school and he has a master's degree. He also makes a lot more money than I do. I train fighters and love what I do, but make a very modest living. This guy probably makes 6 times what I do and flaunts what he has. I just bring up all that as my assessment of how we differ. The biggest thing that I have been wondering about is that this last trip for work was to a tropical resort type place. And my understanding at the time was that there was a big group of them going. It turns out that it was just my wife, this flashy guy, and the CEO. The CEO is very old and doesn't really interact socially. He is just all business. In my imagination, my wife and this other guy spent a lot of time together over that week, doing who knows what. My dilemma is that I want to see if my gut feeling is right, but don't want to cause a bigger issue by accusing her or asking. We have had a few ups and downs over the years, but have had a pretty good overall marriage from my side. No major issues or anything. I'm not the most outgoing guy and I don't make much money, which has been a small issue for my wife. She says I'm not living up to my potential and that I could make a lot more money doing something else. I don't want to make it sound like she is obsessed with money in any way, but I know women are more comfortable with a bigger nest egg. She thinks I can do other things, but I'm not really qualified for anything other than fighting or training fighters. That's basically been my entire life, or possibly being a personal trainer. None of these things are big money makers, but other than those things, she seems pretty happy. A friend of mine said I should keep my suspicions to myself and start doing things to spy and collect evidence if it's there, but I feel weird about violating her privacy. If she is cheating, I can't imagine I would ever stay with her. I hope I'm wrong about all this, but thoughts of her cheating are starting to flood my mind, and I feel like I need to find out either way. We have 2 kids, and that is the part that scares me. I'm involved in every part of my kids' lives, and my heart would be broken to only see them half the time. Sorry for the long post. I would love to hear some ideas on how to deal with this. All right, now that we've set the stage, let's get into Update 1. So here's the newest information. I had abandoned in favor of a more stable career. One afternoon as I watched Ethan work, he caught me looking. Instead of looking away, he smiled a slow and seductive smile that made my stomach do somersaults. "Like what you see?" he asked, his voice low and husky. I felt my face burn. I was just admiring your work, I stammered, knowing it was a transparent lie. Ethan laughed, a rich and deep sound that reverberated in my chest. "Sure," he said, winking at me before returning to work. That night I made a decision. I couldn't go on like this. The tension was consuming me, affecting my work, my sleep, my peace of mind. I needed to put an end to this one way or another. The next day, I woke up early, determined to have a serious conversation with Ethan. I decided I would be honest about my feelings, but make it clear that nothing could happen between us. I loved Nathan, and I wouldn't throw away years of marriage for a passing attraction. I went out to the porch, my heart pounding in my chest. Ethan was already there, working alone again. "Ethan," I called, my voice trembling slightly. "Can we talk?" He turned, his face serious as he noticed my expression. "Sure, Emily. What is it?" I took a deep breath, gathering courage. I need to be honest with you. These past few days I've been feeling..." But before I could finish, the sound of a horn interrupted us. We turned to see a familiar car parking in the driveway. Nathan was home. My heart stopped for a moment when I saw Nathan get out of the car. He looked tired, but smiled when he saw me. Ethan and I instinctively moved away from each other as if we were guilty of something that hadn't happened yet. "Surprise!" Nathan exclaimed, approaching with his travel bag. I managed to finish the project early and decided to come home. I forced a smile, trying to disguise the whirlwind of emotions consuming me. "That's great, honey. I missed you." I hugged Nathan, feeling a mixture of relief and disappointment. On one hand, his presence interrupted the dangerous moment with Ethan. On the other, I felt frustrated at not having had the chance to clarify things. "And how's the renovation going?" Nathan asked, turning to Ethan. "Very well, sir," Ethan replied, his voice professional and distant. "We're a bit ahead, actually." "Excellent." Nathan smiled, putting his arm around my waist. "Well, I won't keep you from your work. Shall we go inside? I need a shower and I'm starving." I nodded, casting one last look at Ethan before following Nathan into the house. The young carpenter maintained a neutral expression, but his eyes told a different story. The following weeks were an exercise in self-control and dissimulation. With Nathan at home, opportunities to be alone with Ethan practically disappeared. Still, the tension between us was palpable. We exchanged furtive glances when Nathan wasn't around. Our hands brushed accidentally when we passed each other. She will probably explain it away. I don't know if I should try to keep it quiet and get more evidence, or if I should come out with it sooner. I am really, really angry. I'm furious at her, but also wanting to go after the other guy. It will take everything I have not to do that. I'm worried that she will admit to inappropriate flirting, and I won't have enough evidence to get her to admit it all. Any advice on when to confront her? I'm going to stay away during the time she texts him and then interrupt her and ask who she is texting to see if she lies to me. All right, let's see how this story's going with update 2. I laid in wait last night after everybody went to bed. I pretended to be asleep and waited to see if she got out of bed to get on her phone. Sure enough, she got up a little after midnight, went into another room and closed the door. I waited a few minutes, got up, quickly opened the door, and walked up to her, saying I couldn't sleep and asking what she was doing. I caught her mid-text and was standing over her too fast for her to hide anything. I watched her hand as she slowly tried to tuck the phone away. She said she couldn't sleep either and was texting her girlfriend. I had a plan and went into it. I got on top of her, started kissing her, and asked if she wanted to fool around. As I expected, she said she couldn't. So I started laughing and tickling her and made a comment that she must be more into the girlfriend she was texting than me. Then I started to playfully wrestle her and got the phone. I could see the panic in her eyes. She tried to get it back from me, but I turned away and held it in the air, like I was playing keep away. I was laughing and acting like I was having fun the entire time. I told her that I was going to call this girlfriend and ask if she was into my wife. My wife yelled out, "Please don't call her!" I started walking away and pulled up the text messages, and I saw one that said, "Can't wait to see you tomorrow." I pressed the call feature, and it seemed like it took forever, but sure enough, the guy answered. I hadn't planned out what to say, so I just hung up. Then I started reading through the texts in front of my wife. I asked her if she thought her girlfriend answered or a guy. She didn't say anything. Then I started reading off the texts out loud and asked her why she was sending this to a guy at night. She said she didn't know. I asked her if she needed to tell me anything. She was quiet. Then I told her that I had looked at her cell phone records and knew everything. I knew when she would wake up to text this guy, and that I knew who this guy was. She started crying and saying she was sorry. I kept my cool. I explained that the next few minutes were very important. If she didn't tell me the complete truth, there would be severe consequences. She said she started flirting with her coworker, and he was having marital issues, and it turned into flirting. She said she never did anything with this guy. My fear was she could only admit to what I already knew. I told her that if she couldn't give me the entire truth, She needed to pack a bag and leave. She agreed to do that as she cried and said she was sorry. Before she left the house, she asked if I was going to leave her. I told her that it was late and we would discuss that later. She left for her mom's house, and I haven't seen her since, but she was blowing up my phone, so I turned it off. My plan is to try to find a marriage counselor and make an appointment. I want my wife to think I want to work things out for a while, until I explain that I am at counseling to get walked through the process of splitting up. This entire incident last night was something I had planned out in my head. Since I was pretending to wrestle with her and tickling her, I wanted to cover myself. So I recorded everything with my phone just in case she tried to accuse me of something. I asked my friend if recording in our state was legal, and he said it was. I don't think she would ever falsely accuse me of anything, but if I am leaving her, she might get desperate. I am 6'4" and an athletic 240 pounds. I'm also an ex-fighter and now trained fighter, so if there is an accusation of abuse, I will not be believed, will get arrested, and lose my kids. So my plan is to record everything from here on out just as an insurance policy. I'm completely heartbroken right now. My entire family has been blown up. I will miss 50% of my kids' lives growing up and feel destroyed. I had suspected something, but I'm still in shock. The worst part is that this is all just beginning. I want to confront the other guy, but will need to restrain myself. I was told that he said I looked terrifying when he first saw me, so I would like to scare him. I also saw that he referred to me as the animal in one of the texts, after she made a comment about me not being too bright. I don't make much money or have a college degree, but I'm an intellectually curious person and read lots of books about all sorts of topics. I'm not the smartest guy, but I feel like I'm not stupid. I will try to update as things go on. I'm not sure what advice I can get at this point. I'm just devastated. He promised to update, and an update he has. Update 3. My attorney friend was able to recommend a lawyer that specializes in family law. Not only that, but supposedly this guy was also cheated on, and these cases allow him to exact revenge. This is what my friend said when he recommended the lawyer. He's going to be very flexible on his fees and genuinely wants to help. Maybe this is on the positive side of the ledger. Now on to the other side. My wife admitted to the affair. She told me that it started as flirting, then turned into an emotional affair, but never turned physical. I saw right through that, and then she finally admitted that it turned physical, which coincided with the point in time when she shut down intimacy with me. I got a lot more details than I thought I could take. It was a very hot and steamy affair. To say this has really messed me up would be an understatement to the highest degree. I'm wrestling with my emotions and can't keep a thought in my head. I told my wife it would be best for her to stay with her mom for the time being, and that I will take care of the kids so they can be at home and have some stability. My attorney is working his magic. In the meantime, I am in the house, and this is a big advantage, according to him. I've also not told her that our marriage is over. She will find that out when she has served the papers, which will be coming soon. I can't keep the intrusive images of my wife and this guy out of my head. I coach Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for professional and semi-professional fighters, and I'm trying to give them as much attention as I can. The physicality of my job seems to have been helpful. Obviously, I'm also putting everything into my kids. Outside of BJJ, my passion is learning about new topics. I normally read for a few hours at night to unwind, but I haven't been able to get through a paragraph without losing focus. After seeing that they were referring to me as a stupid animal, I imagine all the other things they may have said. The whole thing has really gotten to me. I've always been a happy person, but the joy is just gone. On another note, the word has gotten out about what has happened, and there have been a lot of people offering to assist in any way they can. It definitely helps to feel like I have support. A number of my friends' wives have spun into action and said they know beautiful women they want to hook me up with, including a few that know me and are very interested in my upcoming single status. I won't be dating until this is all over with, and probably not for a while after that. But knowing that there are a lot of options is a nice feeling. I think I'll be okay. Right now, it's just all about the kids. I will try to update at some point soon. My wife is hysterical and pushing to stay married. I know I can't get over what she did, so staying together would just delay the inevitable. Update 4. Life has been chaotic, but I wanted to log back into this throwaway account and give an update on my situation. I discovered my wife having an affair and also found out that she thought I was stupid and a loser for not earning a high salary. I filed for divorce, and it should be wrapped up next month. We will have 50-50 custody, and she will be paying spousal support since she out-earns me by a large margin. That is the current legal situation. Now onto the other fallout. I'm heartbroken, as are my kids. I never thought I would be a single dad, but here I am. My wife seems to be falling into some kind of depression. The guy she cheated with decided that she wasn't worth the trouble. From what I'm told, she has started drinking and going out with a lot of random guys she meets online. There have been more than a handful of times where she called me and begged me to take her back so she can have her old life back. Part of me wanted that, but I've held strong. After she found out how much money she will have to pay me every month, that seems to have made her angry towards me, so I don't have to worry about her calling. My kids don't understand. Every second they aren't with me, I feel miserable. I'm also lonely all the time. I haven't spent much time with friends and mostly just stay home. The girl that works at a coffee shop I frequent even asked me if everything was okay because I looked sad. I guess I'm not hiding it as well as I think. There are people I know who want to set me up with women they know, but I don't want to do it because I feel like I am branded as the guy whose wife cheated on him. It has been so long, I have no idea how to date. I had a few fighters do really well on a pretty public stage, and that has been the only spark I have felt in a long time. I really don't know what I will do next. At some point, I need to snap out of it and move on. I just haven't reached that level of motivation yet. Though I did have somebody I know get into contact with the other guy's wife and show her the proof I had. I just couldn't live with nothing happening to him. I am not allowed to go after him, so this was the next best thing. She didn't believe it at first, but then I heard about major marriage issues for them. As far as I know, they are together but on the rocks. I have a lot of anger over everything. It's just crazy to think how life can be fine one minute, then completely upside down the next. One positive that has happened is that I did meet a girl through some friends that I'm interested in. I haven't asked her out or anything, though. She is stunningly beautiful, but about 14 years my junior. I don't know if that's a major issue, but it is a pretty big age gap. Given what I have been through, I think my confidence has really taken a hit. I feel like she is too attractive for me. She might actually be, I suppose, but I've been thinking about her a lot. So that's been the last half year of my life. I have to say it has been the worst I have ever felt. I have always been a very happy person, but just feel dark and gloomy now. All right, this is the final update. Let's see how he wraps it up. Long story short, I found out my wife was cheating on me with a coworker. Then I divorced her. I was with her for about 15 years in total. So to say my new life has been an adjustment would be an understatement. I do have moments where I feel a sense of sadness or loss, but those are fleeting. For the most part, I feel great. My kids are doing well, and they're with me a lot. One of the things that happened after the divorce was my wife had to take in more accounts at work to pay for her new single living situation, as well as spousal support to me, since she earned a lot more than me. When the pandemic hit, I had a very flexible schedule, so I was able to keep the kids with me and do homeschooling. Since my job involved physical contact with other people, the pandemic has slowed that down. Not a lot of opportunities for my guys right now, so in a way, it has been like I am a stay-at-home dad. I took some time to myself after the whole ordeal. The younger girl I was interested in took a long assignment with her company in Europe. We stayed in touch through technology. After her assignment ended, she came back, and we've been together ever since. She loves me and my kids. She's an extremely compassionate and considerate person. Before we were introduced, I was told that there was an amazing woman that resembled Wonder Woman and was the nicest person you could ever meet. I thought it was too good to be true, but she is absolutely the real deal. I think there will probably be some next steps in our relationship coming soon. Things for my ex have not really worked out. She started drinking and hooking up with random guys she met online. Having to take more accounts has also taken a toll on her. Just in the last few years, she looks like she has aged 15 years. She was always pretty, but the last time I saw her, she looked ragged, like her life force was depleted. A weird thing to say, but that's what it looked like. Her best friend told me that she is miserable and hard to be around. I don't think I will ever understand how a person that is seemingly happy and in control of their life can spiral into such a dark place. My ex's friend also told me that she never thought I would leave her after the affair. I think she felt a sense of control over me because of her high income, so the affair had consequences that she didn't anticipate. I do hope she finds peace for my kids' sake. Other than some challenges due to the pandemic, things are great. I am so glad I immediately ended my first marriage rather than dragging it out. I knew I was making the difficult decision, but it was the right thing to do. Then I just grinded along. I have no problem inching a little forward every day, knowing eventually I will get through. If you are in this situation, you need to think about things in the long term. You might feel devastated at first, then sad, then depressed, then hopeless. But no matter what, you push ahead. Work out hard every day too. The key is to try to do one thing every day that improves you or adds to your skill set. Not self-help stuff, but real skills. I got into making short films of the guys I trained and learned about videography and editing, which has been a fun hobby. I read more books to learn about all sorts of things. I just try to do something every day. Small things add up over time. You just need to make sure you're putting in the work and let yourself be patient. I guess we might have been able to predict where this was going, but it sounds like it's getting better for the OP. Congrats, man, and I hope things continue to stay positive.
Marking the beginning of a new day and hopefully a new chapter in our lives. The road ahead would be difficult, but I was determined to walk it step by step alongside the man I truly loved.